Hi everybody, Kim here. We're on to part 2 of the AUB. Now, for those of you who watch Sister Wives, which is reality TV, not everybody's into it, I know, but Cody Brown and his wives belong to the AUB, which is the Apostolic United Brethren. Now, my understanding is because they've been so public and come out, and the church has told them to leave. They're no longer a part of the AUB. And Rulon C. Allred is the founder of the AUB. Now, Rulon, who was born into a polygamous family in 1906 in Chihuahua, Mexico, to Byron Harvey Allred and Mary Evelyn Clark, which is probably why Rulon C. Allred stands for Rulon Clark Allred. Rulon did make his way to the mainstream LDS church in his teenage years. And on June 9th of 1926, he married Catherine Lucy Handy in the Salt Lake City Temple. And they moved to California to pursue work in the medical field. Now, Rulon did become a holistic chiropractor. That was the work he did his whole life. He delivered multiple, or I should say numerous, babies during his practice. Because he was part of the AUB and they had, a lot of babies to deliver. He was murdered in 1977. And Ervil LeBaron is the one who planned and ordered the murder. Now, Ervil has been in prison for a long time, and after spending over a decade in prison, he did die in jail. So he went to California to pursue work in the medical field. And while he was in California, Allred held various positions in the mainstream LDS church, including the Stake Genealogical Society and the Stake Presidency, and and planned and participated in many trips to the Mesa, Arizona temple to assist in work for proxy baptisms. It was really interesting. I watched on Mormon Book Review, they had Rulon's granddaughter, Elizabeth Allred Phillips, who wrote a book about the legacy of Rulon. In 1933, Rulon's father wrote a book that defended the practice of polygamy, and this book was called A Leaf in Review. And after this book came out, Rulon wrote numerous letters to his father asking him to give up his practice of polygamy, to stop the practice. But during this time when Rulon is trying to convince his father to stop polygamy, Rulon decided, you know what, I had to give this polygamy thing a try. This isn't such a bad gig from what I'm reading here. And he went to his wife, Catherine, and said, I think we need to take other wives. You need to be a sister wife. And his wife said, nope, absolutely not. And in 1935, Catherine left Rulon and took their 3 children with her. And in May of 1840, Rulon was excommunicated from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And after his excommunication, or disfellowship, as it's now called, Rulon moved back to Salt Lake, and he joined the United Order effort, which, from what I can tell, was basically various polygamous groups that were splinter groups of the LDS. Most of them had not separated into, the AUB, the FLDS, the Kingston group, all that. And after Rulon joined the order effort, he rose up very quickly through the ranks of the group. And during his work, he did missionary work in Mexico and California, and he worked a lot with Joseph Musser. So in 1854, after Joseph Musser died, Rulon assumed the role of leader of the Apostolic United Brethren. So that's how he came to that group. And in the Salt Lake Valley, more specifically in Halliday, some people say Halliday, other people say Holiday, but it's spelled Hollada, so Holiday. And he basically had like a compound where his wives were there, and they were raising all of their children. And the house that Rulon and his wives lived in was called the White House. They had a pool for swimming. There were all these activities for the children. And Rulon was arrested many times for his practice in polygamy, but he didn't end the AUB. The AUB continued. And, it's really sad that he was murdered in 1977. And it wasn't because of his practice in polygamy. It was because Orville LeBaron felt slighted by Rulon. And since Orville believed in blood atonement, there had to be reparations for that. And to him, it was death. Rulon's blood had to be shed. Now, I did tell you all that I found out something interesting. Now, I know, and having been a watcher of Sister Wives almost from the beginning, just pretty much trying to understand why these people lived polygamy, why they practiced polygamy, what they saw in it for them. Well, in one episode, I couldn't tell you which episode or what season, they had mentioned that Christine, one of Cody's wives, was basically polygamy royalty. And they may have explained why she was polygamous royalty, but I didn't understand why. I found out why. She is the granddaughter of Rulon Allred and the niece of Orville LeBaron. So she was related to two of the big polygamy groups. And, I'm kind of thinking maybe that's why Cody was so upset when Christine left, because it's like, oh crap, I'm gonna be in trouble with the AUB and with the LeBaron group. But that's just what was going through my head. Doesn't mean there were any threats, anything like that. Now, one of the things in the Allred group to have a place in the celestial kingdom, a man has to have 3 wives, minimum of 3 wives. When Rulon died, he had at least 16 wives and 44 children. So with, Cody had 4 wives. Mary, who was his first wife, his only legal wife, divorced him so that he could legally marry Robin, and Cody could adopt Robin's children from her previous marriage. Now, things didn't really seem, I don't recall seeing any episode where, okay, Mary and Cody had a spiritual marriage after their legal marriage was ended. Now, they may not have needed to because they had been married and they did the sealing or the spiritual marriage at that time. So that would still continue. But when Christine left, it was like, well, crash, I got to get another wife just to be safe. And now as we see through what's going on now, Janelle is not happy, and her and Cody, they haven't said they're getting a divorce, but they are separated. Christine is left. Their spiritual marriage is over. And so that would leave Cody with just 2 wives. So just let you know what else I found out on the AUB. Now, I know there have been some interviews on channels where a young man who had been part of the AUB and left talks about how it was so awful and he was worked to death and he was paid hardly anything, but it's only the one that I've heard, so I'm not going to say it's true. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying I don't have proof of it, because one person does not give proof. I would have to see or hear from other members who have left the AUB. So that's part 2 of the AUB. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them. I read and respond to all the comments. But I do respond more in depth to nicer comments than I do to people who are not being quite so nice, which I have had. So, just have a great day. Today is Friday. But I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Not sure what it's going to be at this point. I have some research done on other videos, just don't have them all put together. So that's what I'll be doing this afternoon. But enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a great day. Bye.